Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Thursday morning to you all. Happy June. It is June 1st. Crazy. Just seems like the older you get, the more time just flies on by, and that is certainly the case. I'm 31 years old, and I know a lot of people who are older than I am can certainly voice to this, but it certainly is the case. People told me that when I was younger, and it's not that I necessarily didn't believe them, but I didn't really think about it much. But, as the older I get, the more it just flies on by. So it's definitely a little bit of an emotional moment for me. I'm not a big crier or anything like that, and if you are, it's not a knock on you or anything like that. But certainly, I could feel my eyes watering up watching my. I have two little girls, but watching my youngest little girl graduate kindergarten. When I was young, I don't remember them ever having a graduation for kindergarten. It's pretty cool though that they do that, because it is a pretty cool accomplishment, obviously, for these kids. And just knowing that that's the last time I'll do that, the last time I'll have a little girl or a child in kindergarten, as we do not plan on having any more kids. Two is where we're going to stick with. So, but it was tough, but it's bittersweet. But certainly woke up thinking about it a little bit extra this morning. But appreciate you guys understanding not making a video over the last several evenings. Just have had a lot going on with the ending of the school year and some transitioning things. My wife's last day of work was yesterday, so just been some things we've been transitioning with. So today we will get back to the normal flow of things as we really get into summertime. So with that being said, we're going to talk some weather, a little bit of severe weather, possibility of some flooding for certain areas. Talk about how hot it's going to be today for a lot of areas, especially the Northeast. And I'll give you an update on the tropics. So if you folks have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. You guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, put those in the comments. Let's get rolling this morning. Water vapor loop. You got an upper level low kind of over Arizona, New Mexico right now. This will help aid in additional showers and storms for areas of Texas and surrounding regions today. Kind of the same areas that have continued to see those showers and storms. Today is a weird day, and I'll talk about it in the video. I'm really watching the southern extent to a big blob of showers and storms that will develop kind of in the western and the panhandle areas and even western Oklahoma of these portions of the country today. The southern extent is where you'll have the best thermodynamics, watching for a low-end tornado threat for today in that region. We'll talk about that exact region here in a second. But we already have a whole lot of shower and storm activity ongoing for a lot of people this morning, but especially in this region of the country. See this big blow up of convection right here, a lot of moisture in the atmosphere here in the northeast section of the Gulf of Mexico. So that is our invest that we have in the area of interest. It's not expected to develop into our first named storm, which is Arlene, but we've seen crazier things happen, right? But as of right now, it is an invest. But as of now, nothing has really changed since the last couple of days. Honestly, it has not. Don't believe anything any crazier than that you may be listening to or hearing. But sometimes these things could end up being the boom scenario and being a named storm. But as of now, this is just going to continue to deliver a lot of showers and rain and storms, tropical downpours for Florida over the next few days. So watching a ridge right here. So this is going to influence the pattern and be a topic, not of necessary concern, but this will definitely be a topic that we'll talk about and what it's going to do with the weather up in the Northeast over the next few days. But as far as what's going on at the surface, we'll get this in motion right here. A lot going on, nothing too crazy going on, but there is a lot of areas that are seeing ongoing heavy rain, storms. The first area you see, I'm not going to zoom in on this, hopefully you can see it pretty well, but the first area you probably immediately your eyes go to is right in the middle of the screen right here in Texas. Western Oklahoma, areas of western Kansas, southwest Kansas. A lot of rain continues to fall. This area of the country have seen a lot of rain over the last 10 days. It's an area of the country that can get really, really dry. So, it's a little uncommon, a little unusual, but hey, here we are seeing a lot of rain. Cluster of more heavier showers and storms. Nothing severe right now, but here in kind of south central Iowa, a little area right here in southeast Nebraska, northeast Kansas, and then you see our blob of convection here in the northeast Gulf of Mexico right down here. And this is our invest, our area of interest that the National Hurricane Center is monitoring Had a crazy tornado up here in Canada yesterday. It was very photogenic. I believe it was in Alberta. I think. But, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But it was very photogenic tornado out here in the flat region of Canada. But a lot of shower activity up here this morning. The Storm Prediction Center, there is a very small slight risk. Now, I could see this expanding in the next upgrade, in the next update here in the next few hours. I could see this kind of getting more broad down here. But now, as of now, you have a slight risk over Lubbock and kind of surrounding small towns and communities right here. And I think this is a great spot the Storm Prediction Center has put this in. And I'll tell you why here in a second. I really think some intense storms can fire up in this very small section of Texas. Tornado threat, as of now, just a 2% risk, but I could see a very small 5% risk being issued inside this 2% risk. Wind threat, just a 5% risk of damaging winds pushing 50 knots or higher, 55 to 60 miles per hour, which typically can be damaging winds. So not much flow aloft, and that's probably why your tornado threat isn't very high. But in the slight risk, you do have a 15% risk of hail exceeding 1 inch in diameter or larger in this yellow region. There is a flash flooding concern today. I think numerous showers and storms in Wyoming and Montana, even more than the last several days, will really amplify later this morning into this afternoon. And I really do think you'll have widespread heavy rain, storm activity up here. Maybe an inch or so of rain in certain areas over the next 24 hours. And then, you got a slight risk of flash flooding. Depending on how much rain falls between what's going on right now and what develops this afternoon, I could see an upgrade to a 40% risk being issued inside this slight risk somewhere. Especially if a concern or an ongoing flash flooding risk kind of breaks out in this region of western Oklahoma, the panhandle of Texas. You guys have already seen a lot of rain. You're going to continue to see it. You definitely could see some isolated flash flooding concerns in Florida, but the risk is very low. National Hurricane Center update from 2 a.m. Eastern Time. This thing still has a 20% chance to develop inside the next 7 days. Nothing has changed with this. Just an area that we're watching. We'll dive a little bit deeper into this later this evening in a video. But let's talk about the southeast first. We'll kind of go over it really quickly, and then we'll zoom in on Florida. But you see this L right here. This is the low pressure in the Gulf of Mexico kind of spinning around, and it literally does have a spin. As you can tell, as we get into about mid to late afternoon, numerous showers and storms develop in basically the southern half of the peninsula of Florida. Kind of breeze through the state, grind up against the western coastline of Florida, make it all the way potentially to the Big Bend areas. Not expecting widespread showers or storms for the panhandle, but some of these could make it into the panhandle of Florida. Could have an area of showers, maybe heavy downpours that develop here near the Cumberland Plateau, the valleys of eastern Tennessee, North Georgia, but not expecting much at all. Could have some isolated downpours in the Carolinas. We zoom into Florida, and like I said, we're getting into 1 p.m., 2 p.m. Here come some showers developing kind of along the Space Coast and central Florida, but they get more numerous, I would say, in the southern areas of Florida, especially the western areas, the western coastline of Florida. Numerous tropical downpours develop. Somebody could easily get an inch or so of rain out of this today. And they could really be anywhere. I would say from Gainesville Point south, anybody in this entire region could see a good bit of rain today. Frequent lightning is possible, but I would say heavy rain is the biggest threat. None of these are supposed to hit severe limits. If they do, it'll be brief. No tornado concerns or anything like that, or really large hail like we saw a couple months back. The Northeast, you get one more quiet day of weather. One more. That's it. So enjoy it if you've been enjoying it. It's gotten quite dry. But you take it to this afternoon, nothing's going on. But if you look down here, first off, there's a high pressure right over the Great Lakes. Lake Huron. There's a big, not a big, but just a surface high over this region. Okay, there's a spin going around this. So you got literally a northwest flow over the northeast. Flow coming out the northwest, moving southeast. So as we get into this afternoon, this evening, some showers could develop. We watch little impulses of energy that round kind of the upper portion or different portions of this high pressure. And here's one swings through. You get some shower activity that moves through Maine, northern Vermont, or northern New Hampshire. But I would watch as we're waking up tomorrow. I'm going to go on and fast forward into tomorrow. We'll talk more about this in this evening's video. I think you're going to have numerous storms that are ongoing. In fact, a lot of my folks up here in the Northeast on social media are quite excited about this, who are kind of big into the weather. Would not be surprised if you get some higher category risk for severe weather issued for the Northeast or New England tomorrow. I mean, this could potentially happen for southern New England all the way up into Maine. So this is for 3 or 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I think you could have some active weather ongoing for all of basically New England. So you guys are going to get some beneficial rain, and then even more rain as we get into this weekend. This weekend could be a doozy, and we'll talk about that a little bit more detail tonight, but we'll give you an update on it in this video also. But as far as the south central U.S., guys, you're already dealing with rain this morning. We'll see if the atmosphere tries to recover. It's already going to recover down here in this area, kind of near Lubbock, Plainview, these regions down here at Paducah, Texas. What city is that? Is that not even a city? I guess not. But Dickens, Roaring Springs, this entire area, certainly watch. This is the area I want to watch right here for concern for severe weather. You're not really dealing with any morning convection down here, so the atmosphere isn't stabilized by morning showers and storms and things like that. But this is the cluster of storms I'll watch. But numerous showers, some storm activity is possible in Colorado. You could have another cluster that develops off kind of leftover energy here in northeast Kansas. But this is the main deal right here. Some pretty strong to severe storms could develop, and then they'll weaken, diminish when you lose daytime heating. But a little bit closer look at what can happen today. All right, here they are. These storms fire up. This is around 4 p.m. Central Time. So, Lubbock being right into here. Okay, these storms could miss Lubbock, but if you're like up towards, and they might not miss Lubbock because more form later in the afternoon, 6, 7 p.m. But if you're in Lubbock points north and especially east and northeast, these storms could be the most intense. What is that? Floydada? Okay, you guys correct me. Plainview up to Memphis, Tennessee, Paducah, Memphis, Texas. I know you guys are probably cracking up on me. Paducah, Texas, Childress, Texas, and basically that entire area between Turkey, Matador, Paducah, Childress, Texas. That entire area right here could be the battleground for some intense storms later on. If I butchered any names, you guys are always very kind with correcting me. I'm sure I do. I'm sure I did. So y'all let me know. But some of these, I would watch this most southern storm right here for very large hail and a tornado threat. It's going to form right here. I would say east, northeast of Lubbock. Please be careful with these storms. These could be quite intense right here in Texas, not Tennessee. So they will obviously weaken with the loss of daytime heating and the ingredients needed. But additional rainfall. Some of this has already fell, but more rainfall expected. Someone could get 2 to 3 inches of rain here in western Oklahoma today. 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain is possible in the panhandle of Texas. We'll see what happens with this, but please be careful with flash flooding if you live in this region. North central U.S., you'll notice a flow, high pressure right into here. Okay? You'll notice a flow, and this high pressure is shifting somewhat. So this is allowing for more moisture to make it a little bit further east now. So you're going to have a chance for more very isolated showers, maybe a storm in Wisconsin, I would say the western UP of Michigan, but the further west you make, southwest you make, the higher chance you have. But listen, this is all scattered about. You got a cluster of storms around 6, 7 p.m. this afternoon, this evening, in areas of South Dakota, right here, and eastern North Dakota, northwest Minnesota. Pretty much everybody in Iowa stands a chance. This area of northeast Kansas, southeast Nebraska. Very isolated in nature, though, in Missouri, Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin. So, count your blessings. Definitely consider yourself lucky if you get any rain in these regions, because it's getting quite dry and it's going to be very warm. This high pressure is definitely baking you guys in this region. Like I said, you've just went straight from winter to summer here in this region of the country. But eventually you will lose the influence of this high pressure. But you can see the twist. Like, I'll start it right here, and you'll notice there is a twist like this around. This is rotating. Clockwise around this high pressure. So it's pretty interesting to see. You see how there's a little bit of a rotation, high pressure right into here. So if you're immediately under this high pressure, you don't expect much rain. Today out west, here we go. Look at all the shower and storm activity, especially Wyoming. I mean, even northern Utah, Colorado, Montana. But I would say Wyoming will be the big state for just numerous shower and storm activity. Not expecting a big day of severe weather for this region of the country, but eastern Oregon, Utah, Nevada. If you're in southern Nevada, not going to get much action. I know I got a loyal viewer there in Nevada. I appreciate you very much. But if you're in that southern section of the state, not expecting much rain. But if you head on up to the central, especially northern and northeast portion of the state, definitely a solid chance for more rain for you guys. But this will last all night. You'll just continue to have just a churning flow up here of moisture, and a little bit closer to the northern plains. I mean, bang! This really pops off around 3 to 4 p.m. You got a lot of heavy downpours ongoing. I mean, even in those far, far higher up elevations of Colorado, it's falling as snow. You got to get pretty high up in elevation, probably 10,000 feet up to see actual snow falling. But, you could definitely have more so some storm action here in South Dakota, but numerous showers and storm activity. A little bit of a flow. It looks like a little bit of a mesoscale convective vortex that might spin up in this region right here and fly through a little bit of a low pressure. So rainfall between now and the next 24 hours. Good bit from Montana. Certain areas could see an inch of rain. That's a lot of rain from Montana in a 24-hour period. Wyoming, almost everybody in the state's likely going to see rain today of some sort. So a lot of rain expected. Temperatures, we're baking now, right? I mean, we done lost this pesky low pressure, but I mean, look, you look in extreme eastern North Carolina, extreme southeast Virginia, you are still dealing with lower temperatures, only highs in the 60s, and it's still influencing your weather somewhat. But highs are cooking here in the Midwest and Ohio Valley, 90s, upper 80s. You're getting quite warm in the deep South now. You're starting to get more to a typical summer pattern. Somebody might get into the mid 90s, way up here in northwest Minnesota, eastern North Dakota. And I mean, we're baking here in Maine, 90 degrees, getting up into 90 up in Canada. It's going to be very warm today. I think these temperatures will exceed what you're seeing on this map. In fact, I know they will. But very warm for sure. Below average still continuing for a lot of the western U.S. with this upper troughing influencing the weather. But, I would stick to your local forecast as far as high temperatures in this region of the country for sure. But this is what you're looking like out west for your area. But this is definitely below average for the desert Southwest. You're supposed to be getting up into the low 100s, upper 90s, low 100s this time of the year. Update on the tropics. Listen, there's not a whole lot to speak on. I'm not going to hype up anything that doesn't need to be hyped up. We typically don't do that on this channel anyways. But, you take the Euro. This continues to spin this kind of weak low pressure. It's having a hard time really moving. But this will continue to spin, and latest model guidance is really shoving this further south now, and then it just kind of disappears and meanders away. You'll be left with a lot of tropical moisture probably throughout the weekend for Florida. But other than that, guys, I mean, this is not expected to develop even to a depression unless something substantial changes over the next day or so. But rainfall between now and Saturday evening, continue to expect rounds of heavy rain for the central and southern half of the peninsula of Florida, guys. I mean, anywhere from 1 to as much as 3. Maybe areas could get 4 inches of rain. So just be careful out here with these downpours. I kind of showed you, and I'm going to go over it again tonight for you folks in the Northeast, but I showed you what could potentially happen tomorrow. Okay, so as we get into Saturday, there's going to be some kind of low that gets trapped off the coast of the Northeast out into the northern Atlantic. Okay, this thing is going to spin around and keep a lot of shower activity. Not really storms, just heavier rain really close to the coastline. How much does this move inland? We're unsure, but I can tell you areas like Southeast Mass, Boston, the coastal regions of New England are certainly going to experience on and off rain all weekend, especially Sunday. And here's that low pressure Sunday evening. This is not only going to keep the entire weekend soggy and rainy, but it's going to keep your temperatures very cold too for early June standards. So the National Weather Service for today, quite warm, low to mid 90s for areas of New Hampshire. I mean, look how hot they're going for New Hampshire and Vermont. I think the highest temperature we've hit here in Columbia is 92. So certain areas you guys are still beating out our temperatures up here in the Northeast compared to us in the Southeast. But you get into Friday, very warm again. But look, you're starting to cool off. Then you go from the 90s just west of Boston to the 50s for highs the very next day here in Saturday. So this is because you're dealing with clouds, rain-cooled air, and you really have to work into New York State before you warm up. So Saturday and Sunday is going to be a raw weekend. It's kind of like the Northeast is getting what the Southeast got this past weekend. So this is kind of what is expected. I'm not expecting a huge coastal storm, but that could change. Models are disagreeing on how close this is going to get to the Northeast, so we'll try to figure this out for you folks. That's all I got. Thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate the support as we move into another month. I'm excited about summer and just relaxing somewhat as we gear up for hurricane season as we get a little bit deeper into the year. But today is the first day of hurricane season. Didn't really mention that, but God bless all y'all. Appreciate the support. I really do. Your support in these slower months really tells the true growth of the channel. So thank y'all for continuing to tune in. I'm noticing that, yes, the views have dropped, but the view duration, meaning how long you guys watch these videos, has increased substantially, 7 to 8 minutes. And I know you're thinking 7 to 8 minutes in a 25-minute video don't seem like a lot. It is in the YouTube algorithm. It really is. So I'm noticing you guys are, the engagement is higher, and that just tells me that there's a lot of people that tune in regularly, that continue to tune in and just let my entire video play regardless of talking about your region. So thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. God bless, and I'll be with you guys this evening.